first heard about this project, what made you want to be a participant in the book?
Well, I'm a big supporter of Belt Magazine, the publishing company in general. I've read all the other anthologies. I read their online content daily, and I just think it's really excellent journalism. They pay their writers a good amount of money, and I think that's reflected in their work. So when they chose Youngstown, I was excited just because of the fact I knew we have a lot of talent here as far as creative writing. You know, that was what initially drew me. I thought I could submit something of value to them, just a little bit about my experience in Youngstown, and they happened to like it, so that was why I did it. Yeah.
And how do you think the book speaks about Youngstown? How is it different than maybe what has been published before?
You know what, I think with these anthologies in particular, and having read the other cities, they are really looking for an unfiltered, true account of what people's experiences are, whether that's good, bad, or anything in between there. And so I think that that's reflected in a lot of these essays. These essays are really, I think, ultimately about an appreciation for the community, but they don't always tell, you know, a positive story or a happy story. It's real unfiltered stories about people's lives and experiences here. But ultimately, I think all authors in this book love Youngstown, and that's the overarching theme and what shines through in the book ultimately.
And Cleveland and Detroit had anthologies, and Youngstown's really a smaller market compared to those other two. Did it surprise you that a book came out of Youngstown in this position that it did as the third work?
It is the third work, yes. I thought ultimately because of Youngstown's storied history, just also their interest in Youngstown, having read a lot of their other materials, a lot of people that are submitting content to their online publications are from Youngstown. So I think that there's an interest by Belt Magazine in this community, but I was surprised that this was, you know, so soon in the evolution of this, because I think we're the first smaller market city that they've done in the series. So that's really encouraging. So tonight's event, we really wanted to make sure they had a great turnout for this, and sales were good, and so far I think that they've met those expectations.
And one last question. Sure. 10 years from now, how do you think people will view this book in the context of the era that it was born in?
I think that they will take a look at some of these stories, and granted, I have not read the entire book yet, so I'm not completely familiar with the whole spectrum of what has been written, but I think that this provides, in some context, a snapshot in time. It is certainly for myself. So I'm looking back at just the last 10 years of my time here. If I were to look 10 more years at my life in Youngstown, that would maybe have a totally different narrative. But some of these pieces are reflective of things that have already happened in times past, and some things are about what people see moving forward for the community. So I think to some degree it's a benchmark to see where we're at with some of the chapters and some of the pieces. But in 10 years, even for myself, I would be very interested to go back and read my own piece to see where I was at that period of time. So I think that it's a good piece right now, and hopefully there might be a second edition of it at some point. They've done that for Cleveland already. They've already ran a second edition there. So I think it's just it's a great project, and it'll be a good thing to look back in 10 years from now.